We're going to talk about a group of weapons that aren't rare because they're discontinued. Because, well, they're not. These weapons are rare because nobody wants to go out of their way to get them anymore. These weapons being Faerie weapons, and they come in a whole bunch of varieties, basically being the different types of weapons that the Otherworld shops will sell, from swords to knuckle blades. So there's a lot of choices here. Now let's just look at the stats on one of them. You can see that it has a proc skill with a 20% chance to land, which is a huge chance, and uses remaining. The uses remaining means that every time it procs, the number will go down by 1. If the number hits 0, as the description says, it'll cease to exist, which means the item will delete itself and you'll have nothing. You can never get it back, you have to buy a new one if you want it. Other things to note. The weapons are level 60 and have the exact same stats as quartz, aside from the proc and ability difference, but the same damage, same speed, same weight even. So if you're on one of the Android worlds and you want a quartz weapon, this is pretty close. There's some other things we could talk about. The quest, specifically. And you go to this person, and they'll give you a quest called Fairyland. And Fairyland is a very, very, very annoying quest. You have to kill 10 different 5-stars throughout the Otherworld. And people usually farm them, so that's going to be a challenge. Though one of them is up right now, I think it's the Dominator. But you got Rockalancier, Shrouded Lord, the other Wraith guy, some eyes and the trees. I don't remember too much, it's been a long time since I did it. But when you turn the quest, and it is a repeatable quest so you can do it more than once if you so choose, you get a weapon. But the weapon can vary. Yeah, they'll have the same base stats like damage, attack speed, and weight. But the uses remaining and the proc itself will be different each time. The proc can be either fire, magic, or ice. It could do 500 or 1000 damage. And the uses remaining can be 25, 50, or 100. Now let's do some basic math here. Uses remaining 25, 50, 100. That's 3 different outcomes. The elements, magic, fire, ice, that's 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Then damage being 500 or 1000, that's 2. 9 times 2, 18 different outcomes for one weapon. And I don't know if the rates are slanted towards worse outcomes or not, but let's just assume that everything's even. It's all fine and dandy for mages, because mages only use wands, right? But if you're a class like warrior, forget about it. Warriors have one-handed swords, two-handed swords, one-handed axes, two-handed axes, one-handed hammers, two-handed hammers, and spears. That's 7 different weapon types it could be. So 7 times 18 is 126 different outcomes you can get from this one quest. I don't even want to think about it. Crazy stuff. I don't know if I'm lucky to be a mage or not, because wands suck, but you'll never get the weapon you want as a warrior. The weapon itself, it has the silver metal like a quartz weapon, and it's the color of adamant because it's white. Looks exactly like an Otherworld weapon would. The different weapon types, they kind of balance each other out. Yes, a super fast weapon like Knuckle Blades with a speed of 1750 is OP, but as much as you're going to be decimating stuff with damage, you're also going to be decimating the weapon, because fast autos, more procs, is going to burn out real fast. Something slow like a hammer, you'll actually get to use the strength of the weapon as opposed to the proc. Now, some basic math tells us that 100 uses with a 20% chance should last you about 500 hits. And these are auto attacks. If you only use skill attacks, your weapon will never proc. So if you want it to last forever, or you want to use it with one use left, just use skill attacks. But all in all, the weapons are pretty nice for having court stats. Back then, they were pretty popular because the quest was around since 2012. It was actually a viable weapon to kill Aggie with, even, because the best weapons back then were like Diamond, Frozen, Winter King, and Ymir. And Ymir was really slow. And being level 60, you could power level with it too. Nowadays, not too common. People don't like use weapons, so it fell out of style. The other thing it was famous for back in the day wasn't power. It was for scamming people. Because the weapon had uses, but it looked like a quartz weapon. So you'd sell it to an unsuspecting person for the quartz weapon price, saying, oh, this proc makes it OP. But then they break the weapon and cry about it, and then say, oh, you're a scammer. I mean, they didn't read the description, but I don't know how I feel about that. In any case, if you want a fairy weapon, don't pay a lot for it, because people don't really want them. But it's a very interesting piece of history, and they're fun to mess around with too. Really stylish if you got white fashion too. It's about all the info I can offer on this one. An old favorite of mine for sure. And I hope you learned something, I hope you enjoyed it.